Let's Talk Oculus, a VR podcast, is proudly sponsored by the good folks at Patreon. If you want to support the show, join us on patreon.com/Let's Talk Oculus.
Welcome back to part 2 of Let's Talk Oculus. I'm here once again with the CEO of 3 Pound Games, Robin, to talk about the latest update to Grokit, a fabulous Cancer Blaster DLC. So, hi, Robin. It's good to have you back.
Hello. Great to be here. Thanks for having me. I get you all to myself.
Yes, and there is this little unknown competition amongst all the VR podcasts about who can get you on the most.
Oh,
and LTO really had to get you on again. You know, we were falling behind here. We're back in it, though.
I appreciate that. I think it's great. I actually was thinking about starting to call out other CEOs of other VR companies to do the same competition back. Because, get out there and get on these shows. Like, let's build this ecosystem. Let's get it going.
I like it. Yeah, just one big family. That's honestly a big part of what got me into VR. Just really, it's always felt like a niche family.
Yeah, I feel the same way, and I've been in a lot of different industries too. You know, like between the music and engineering, and I fit, but I don't fit. And there's something about the XR crowd. We're all like hyper energetic. Call it neurodivergent if you will, probably. And like everybody's just so into doing art and also has like a technical side. And it's always that technology plus some kind of art smashed together. And you're like, oh, I fit here. This is wonderful. These are my people.
100%. And boy, oh boy, do I feel like I found my people. So to give the people who might have missed our last episode, I think it was around episode 100, if you want to go back and give that a listen. But could you just tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe a little bit about 3 Pound Games?
Hi, I'm Robin Moulder. I'm CEO of 3 Pound Games. I also do the audio and production and all kinds of things. You know, this is the life of an XR developer, is that you wear a lot of hats. And it goes all the way through, too. Everybody wears a lot of hats. 3 Pound Games is working on the cutting edge of mixed reality, especially. We started off in virtual reality back in the day, back in 2016. My
Wow.
VR walker out and start moving. So yeah, it's been a while that we've been in this industry. So I said 2017 is when we started getting kind of serious, and we put out a movement system for the Unity Asset Store, for the Rift. For those of you in the audience who don't know what that is, that was a wired headset.
Wired?
Back in my day, we had to connect stuff to the computer and put little satellites on the walls. Oh my gosh. Wow. That was painful. So yeah, and Vive, of course. So, yeah, we go way back, and we've just been absolutely killing it lately. We won an Augie for Best Indie Creator, and Grokit itself was nominated for Best Game or Toy. It's just been an amazing year. Just got back from Gamescom. I mean, I could go on endlessly.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I saw so many pictures of the home of XR. I'm gonna make it work next year. That's my goal. I'm gonna make it work for next year.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
cool.
It's just an endless party around the globe with us. I'm standing in a bar, and I hadn't really known many people that were going to this one event because it was the Ready Player Me event. Mm-hmm. And then just, there's a guy I know from LA walks through the door. Just like, did I leave the States? Like, and it kept happening. I was on one of the trains, and sure, I ran into a person who, yeah, okay, absolutely, I would see them at the conference, but they weren't actually at the conference. They just happened to live in Cologne.
Wow. That's even stranger.
Yep.
That is even stranger.
But it's
wow.
fun.
So you mentioned really going back to 2016, 2017, early on VR. I'm curious what your first VR experience was and on what headset.
That's a good one. I think it if we're going to count like proper VR, not some phone
The phone, yeah.
abomination. I mean, it was cool, but you know, it wasn't as cool as like the real deal. I think it might have been the Vive. That sounds about right. It was like the most proper form factor of a VR headset. And in that moment, it's like, yeah, this is what I've always wanted to do with my life because if you look at my entire history, it's stereograms, and I was doing the glasses, playing Doom back in the day, trying to oh, I'm gonna play 3D Doom. This is gonna be amazing, you know, to anaglyph it
You've
up.
always been on the cutting edge,
right? Because to me, this is all 3D, and I don't understand why it is we're even looking through a flat screen, other than a lack of technology. And it's so clear that the perfect interface is one that matches how we operate in real life
normally.
And it's kind of bizarre to think about the fact that we've all been trained to interface with the computer in a way that's actually very unnatural, but yet we're so used to it now, we can't imagine what it's like just to like reach out and grab something, or you know, rip something apart, and you have to tell somebody. It's mind-blowing to think about that.
It's so true. But I see like my girlfriend's daughter. I was trying to show her she's about 4.5. She'd never really used a computer before. And I have this old iMac. And so I was showing her like the mouse moving, just like she immediately tried to touch the screen. And so like I look forward to when all the interactions we do in VR are like that, you know, like we're like we expect things to be in 3D and to be that way, much like she expects things to be a touch screen instead of having to use this
there
mouse.
that you just did, like even just like
Yeah.
in the air. You know, we all saw this in movies. There's been so many opportunities to see how this could work. And of course, they've been a little overblown here and there. But yeah, I don't want all these screens everywhere. Why do I need this? Why do I have to buy another monitor when I could just put one up here? Boom, done. You know?
Exactly.
And while I'm at it, like, let me put up some of that digital artwork so I don't have to worry about what am I going to do when I move, or if I just get tired of it, I want to move it somewhere else in the house. There's so many cool opportunities to just completely evolve your world in magical and mystical ways. And we're almost there. I had to wear the Time Is Now shirt because, you know, it's just I'm going to will it into existence.
I like it. And to sort of gear things back to Grokit, because you mentioned being in these worlds. Grokit, before we get into like what Grokit is and everything, in Grokit you can set up your room and you can set up windows. And so I have a few windows in my room set up, and just looking out and seeing the snow and the trees out there, but you're still seeing your real room. Right, you're in mixed reality, but you're seeing the windows change, and it really does change just everything about the vibe of the space and everything. You feel like you're all of a sudden in this winter wonderland, even though you're still in your own home. It's incredible,
right, and it almost feels even a little chillier too. And you're like, this is nice.
100%.
I could hang out here for a while.
100%.
I'm super into the environment settings like that too, and I was doing that in my bedroom, where it's like I did three big stripes on each side. It's like this amazing presence, and it's just like, this is the stuff. This is what we're all waiting for right here. It's like, let's make this happen so that we can all have cool stuff on a nice little pair of glasses, and it's all easy and just works. It's a lot of check marks.
100%. So I've delayed long enough. Let me get into what Grokit is, and so let me start with the with what the store page says, and that is Grokit is a hand tracking multiplayer mixed reality game aimed at rapid fire interactions. Inspired by the party games of old, players are dropped into bizarre situations where they must evaluate their environment and act in a short amount of time. You play in your own room with mixed reality pass-through or in traditional virtual reality in a variety of handcrafted environments. And that's pretty good. pretty good summary, I'd say, to where we can leap off from there. It really feels like a WarioWare for VR, right? That's sort of
that's the jam, absolutely. And that's what, if you think about XR adoption and how difficult it's been to get people in the headsets for sometimes silly reasons, sometimes totally valid reasons, like just even to go back to what we were just talking about, like all the wires and how complex it was just to set up a headset. Now you can just pop it on your head. Great, it's a mobile VR device. Okay, but the frame rate's a little rough. All right, well, it's getting better and better and better. And now here we are at mixed reality. And if you haven't tried mixed reality, you just got to do it. It's so dramatically improved, even from when Meta put out the first Quest 3. It's the same
100%.
Quest 3, but they upped the software to do a lot better rendering with what you're looking at through the cameras. So now you're like, yeah, I just leave my headset on all the time and I'm typing a couple notes. And I mean, it's not perfect, but if we're here,
You can get
just
by.
think about the next one, right? Like what's going to be next. And so we've always been doing these complex games in VR and seeing all these onboarding issues that people have and giving them controllers and watching them do the T-Rex grabby, grabby, grabby. Ooh, I'm so afraid I'm going to hit something. I'm too nervous about having my face covered. There's a lot of little weird things that you don't think about.
Yeah.
I put someone in a headset once and they were like doing this. And I'm like, what are you doing? And it was a claustrophobia thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, you just feel like you're, enclosed.
Yeah. And I mean, sure, it's probably not that common, but all of these things add up. And all it takes is one person in a room of 20. Do you want to do VR? And one person's like, yeah, no, I didn't have a good experience. And it's all over. So we need to flip that script. We need to turn this into positive, fun, make it easy, make sure that you're comfortable, and just go play some cool social stuff. So the only way, I actually kind of did this in this sort of analytical, what have I seen that's ever worked? And looking at people around me, and to throw my brother under the bus yet again, because he was, he's the use case right here. He's really good at sports, naturally, very good at sports. Video games, though, absolute spaz. It's the dodge, you see people doing this, and you're like, you know the characters on the screen, right? You're okay.
Yeah.
And then you realize, wait, this is because you're so connected to your brain and body. And those of us nerds tend to not be so much of that. We're really comfortable with like controlling something from a distance. So how do I deal with that? And the answer is to look at how long the games are. And, he could play stuff like WarioWare and Mario Party, like good at Mario Kart even, and that's because look at how Nintendo worked, right? For the masses, it's short games. It's just a low bar too.
It's easy to get into the games.
Yeah, easy to get in. They're easy mechanics and low risk. You mess up a game, the game's short enough, you're like, so what? I'll do it again. And if I can get somebody to play something 3 times, then you've got the magic down. Now they've learned the mechanic. And I'm like, okay, that's what we need to aim, is right in that 1, 2, 3. Now I've got it really well, and I'm ready to actually compete with you, while at the same time providing that progression on the levels of these are different game types with different mechanics. And this one's a little harder than this one. So once you got this down, you're like, oh, maybe I should try this. Yeah. And now we're essentially teaching you how to XR in XR, but through a game.
It's chef's kiss. It works out. So it's perfect. Do you have a favorite game in Grokit?
I actually think I like the Force.
Really? The Force
Yeah,
one.
it's the outlier of the other ones. And it is the one we consider like the harder game. So
Yeah.
People gravitate to Chomp and Claws Out because it's so obvious. Like, what do you do? What should I do?
I love Chomp.
What are the
I love
instructions
Chomp.
in this game? Chomp. And if you ever played WarioWare, like I always loved how the presentation was for the instructions. Like, answer the telephone. Like whoever this person was that they got extremely high to do the voice recording, kudos. It was pretty
You did
impressive.
kind of nail it there.
Yeah. And you're just like, okay, you've calmly provided the instructions to me. I got this. So, for us, it's like chomp or rah, So those are very, very simple. But with the force, you have to understand that you are trying to use the force to control something. So there are vectors coming out of your hands. And based on the directional vectors combined, that's where the ball is going to go. And this ball is your elemental, fire, dirt, stuff like that. And you're trying to do a base capture. And it's really relaxing, right? Yeah, it's like Tai Chi or something. It's just like slow,
you're going back
relaxing.
and forth. So, that's the thing that Mike taught us when we were playing was he's like, you got to move slower. I think like a lot of us were trying to go a little bit too fast.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of conversations about that because you think of Chomp, Claws Out, even the Grab Gun, those are just much faster games.
Yeah.
And this one's like, wait, you got to just slow down. And we're not really sure how to ratify that. It's like, does it not fit this mini game set? Or is it just that maybe we need to have like one more in between there that's sort of like, okay, how about we have something at a little bit slower, but not as slow as that or not as focused as that.
Right. That would make sense. Just like almost have like a few options in each sort of speed, if you will.
Right. Because speed wasn't the speed of a game wasn't as much something I haven't thought about. It was more like we know we want to do a simple mechanic, and how quickly can you teach it? And to us developers, yes, directional forces. It's just coming out of your hands. It's so obvious, right? No, but try to explain that to somebody. It falls apart pretty quick.
To the brother, yeah. So let's get into the update, the Cancer Blaster update. Can you give us a little rundown of what it is and how it came to be?
Yeah, it's called Cancer Blaster, and it is in partnership with the Children's Cancer Research Fund and Big Dreams Tour. So this came to be last year, I think. There's a tournament called the Ready Player Golf Tournament where a bunch of people get together for charity and they play Walkabout Mini Golf. And there's that
is cool.
It's super great. It's been going
That's
on
yearly?
it's been going on for a few years. I'm not really sure who actually started it. It's one of those, for sure.
Urban legend.
Ben Irwin, who is very well known for the Polys, and Richard Ward, I think, were probably the early people in there. And Sophia Shasha is a big player on that. So there's a whole bunch of those guys that like all pull it together with partners like Engage, and it's just great. And of course, Walkabout's involved as well as far as Mighty Coconut, and it's super cool. And I go to this thing, and I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. James takes us on this tour in Engage of what the kids have put together in Engage, just some of their different art projects that they do in Engage, and some of the other work that he's done on video. It's just like, wow, this guy goes to these hospitals, he goes to the camps and gets the kids to forget about their treatment for a hot minute here and just do something creative. Just do something cool that's yours and that you built and that you were involved in. And like, how can you not support this? Well, immediately I'm like, oh, we gotta build a Grokit level. Let's do this. So he pulls the kids together and gets them to do some artwork and designs and hats and watches and the whole bit. So they gave us sketches. They're just amazing. We were struggling with the art on this because like that's so cute, and how close do you make it like that versus just you have to kind of balance a lot of things here. So we decided to go for the like all in, which is yes, this is exactly what it looks like, and you can see that in the images and the socials where you can see the picture, you can see what it turned into. It's pretty spot on. And we got some of the kids did voice acting, and I was kind of blown away by this.
That's pretty incredible.
Right? Right? I mean, as a person that does voice, it's not something you just drop on somebody like, all right, just give me, here's some lines. Give me these lines for this game.
Yeah.
Usually takes a bit of coaching and back and forth in the booth. And like, these kids just did it. Like,
that's incredible. Wow. Sign me up. They were just ready, huh?
Yeah. Right?
I did see some of the hats in the DLC, the surgeon, the nurse hat, and there's sort of a baseball cap, a CCRF hat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mike and I were just talking about this earlier that for whatever reason, the nurse hat it just kills me. The microbot because he wears the hat too, right? So the microbot's wearing the nurse hat, and then he comes over and it's just like, okay.
Yeah, I'm usually it kind of looks like the ghastly Pokemon. It's sort of like sort of a black array. I don't know how to describe it really, or what is called
he's
exactly. Emote. Okay. And then I just think it's hilarious seeing the various hats on him.
Oh yeah, right. So that moat is from Vault of Stars. So if you play that game, those are the the void moats that come out, and of course you're supposed to destroy them. So when Cordelia made this a head, for me this was like unbelievably funny because like you're a moat, okay, and you could be extra colorful now, like.
I do appreciate all the customization now in the avatars. It's fun to mess around with.
Yeah, I love that Eastern Dragon. That guy, my favorite. It's very beautiful.
So you mentioned that kids were designing a lot of these, a lot of the hats and some of the artwork, and did some of the voice acting. Mike mentioned they might have done some of the music too.
Oh yeah. I'm not sure, if that might have been done by one of the people that's just helping, but I'm sure there was some, idea
Input.
influence. So maybe someone actually played on it. But yeah, it's super cute, super cute. It all fits so good with the environment because it's actually you're in the body. These are cells. You're shooting white blood cells to destroy the cancer, and you have to watch out though because there's red blood cells like chattering along as they do apparently, and they're like popping in and like woohoo, they're just doing their thing trying to get by, and these stupid cancer cells are totally getting in my way and being all grouchy, and here I am armed with white blood cells that are like doing this, like they're ready to go.
They are. I do. Yeah, all the new skins. They fit the cancer blaster quite well.
Yeah, it's really adorable and funny and just hilarious, and it's interesting that because it has that flow through like that in this game. It's a little different than the other games where we often try to make sure everyone's more equidistant, and that's pretty cool because when you're in multiplayer, it means you're in a different position of that artery. Yeah,
interesting.
it's just something to think about when you're standing there.
Yeah. I've only hopped into it so far in the single player, so I didn't get that experience.
Get the full insanity of that. Yeah, it's a cool environment. Alyssa Becker, she did so much of this work on this level with taking these designs and just making them a reality in the 3D world, and just friggin' phenomenal, beautiful job there. And and Cordelia, getting us all together. It's just been a cool project overall. So big shout out to the 3 Pound team for pulling it together. Right?
Nice work. Keep at it, because the LTO podcast likes to get in this. Every probably 2 months or so, we get a nice solid Grokit night in.
That's awesome.
It's a fun with the community. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I will
really
say,
there was definitely some other little sneaky updates out there too. So yeah, check
what
through.
else? What else do we get in?
Well, just like little, just little uplifts. So what you do is, like, whenever you're releasing something, it's like, maybe I could just sneak in a little this thing over here, because if you don't, you'll never publish. So you try to pace yourself. And it's been a very difficult one for us, because it's like this game is also teaching us to make sure we keep putting new stuff out there and don't go too far, and don't, as developers, it's really easy to lock yourself away for 2 years and want to make something
and wait for that perfect thing. Yeah.
Right. Or just like add one more thing. I know, I have another idea. You're like, yeah, of course you do. There's always another idea. Just ship the damn thing and we'll see how it goes.
I do feel like you've nailed the timing on this with September, because October, right around the corner, is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's well planned, whether or not it was on purpose or not.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah. September is actually pediatric. It's not. They don't actually call it that, but for some reason I have that stuck in my head. Childhood Cancer Awareness Month is September.
Gotcha.
So yeah, we absolutely did it on purpose to raise awareness of that month, because it's this is basically what they have to do in charities, is like run around with a giant spotlight and be like, marketing. How about this for 5 minutes? Okay, how about over here? There's a lot of issues in the healthcare system above and beyond anything that people can solve right now. And there's just a whole layer of people that have to help and do things, and even just to distract the kids from, their treatments. I don't know about you, but every time I've been in the hospital, it sucks. It's
not a fun place.
It's noisy. There's beeping all the time. People are bugging you, and you're just like...
It's always light.
It's always light. Right? Like... Ugh.
It's brutal.
Yeah, it's not a pleasant experience, and and it could only be worse if you were 6. So it's kind of important to give them something to do, and the fact that James is out there, just, what do you want to do? Oh, you want to make a movie? Cool, let's do that. Whatever it is, it could be artwork, anything the kids want to do, and he'll put it together, and he'll make it work.
Have the kids who took part, whose things are in the game, had a chance to play them and see their things like in real life? And I'm curious what their reactions were to that.
Yeah, they absolutely loved it. We got an early version out for their camp. They have a summer camp where it's an opportunity for any of the kids that are able enough to go to camp come together. It's great for them because they actually understand each other's struggles. So that's nice. And so yeah, they got to play, and James got some recordings of that. They were just thrilled, so stoked to hear their work back with them. So
that is so cool.
Yeah,
and that would I feel like only inspire them to want to do that again, or do more, or really give them another light onto seeing games.
Yeah. I mean, this is probably sparking a lot of careers that he's lighting people up and saying, look, you can do this no matter what. You can do art. So the sky's the limit now. So you probably take it all 100%. The way. I would not be surprised. It's one of the kids that did voice stuff. I would not be surprised if that kid became a voice actor, because he just naturally has good talent. You're like, okay, what could you do with this if you had a year or two?
Right. And now he's got a credit. Now he's got a resume.
Right. The game credit. How cool is that?
Yeah, that's incredible. It's very cool. So sometimes my girlfriend's daughter, as I mentioned before, she's about 4.5. I'll put her in Grokit because her hands are so tiny she can't control, like holding the controllers isn't really a thing. But she absolutely loves Grokit. I'll set up the room in my bedroom, and I've mostly just put her in Chomp because, like you said, it's easy. She gets it, and somehow the hand tracking picks up her tiny little hands, and she'll just run around my room.
She has tiny little sharks with his tiny little hands.
Yeah,
That must be
exactly.
huge on her.
I can only imagine what it looks like through her, like what she's thinking. She's like,
I wonder if we can scale the sharks to the hand. I mean, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I never even thought of that. It didn't even occur to me that they would be like way oversized on her.
Right.
That's so funny. And what else? And she really loves the little robot. Like she'll hang out in the main menu and just grab the robot, move him to another place in the room, let him go, and see him like scurry back and, hey, you get back here. And just loved like playing with it like it was a toy or a doll, just putting him around the room and just having a great time with that. And yeah, I just wanted to share because it's really special.
Yeah, we have a lot of exciting things coming up for that microbot, and I don't know which way everything's going to land because that moment right there, like that's super cool. I've also seen other people do that as well, like right. But also, would it be cool to use the force on them? But is that a good idea in the menu? It's like actually a game mechanic in the menu, so that you get into all these different thoughts about like what can you do to evolve this character customizations. Are actually making an AI that you actually can talk to and explain how they. I mean, he does tell you how the game goes, but he could have a actual response mechanism to be correct. So, that may happen soon. It's just a matter of there's a lot of
things. The game is growing every time I hop in. Another thing that I particularly like, I'm not sure when it was added, but is when you make kind of like a finger gun, it pulls up a menu in your fingers here, and there's usually like 6 little icons there, like return to the menu, quit, and all that jazz. And that is incredible. I love that UI move. How did that come about, and what were maybe some of the other things you went through and you're like, oh, this isn't working because of this, and how did you end up there?
I think that I don't know what we're calling this, the finger menu, I think that came originally, possibly it was Bryce, so another designer who I don't know, it was for a different project too. It was one of those things where him and Cordelia were talking, and it was like, oh yeah, that's cool, but it didn't fit there. And then Cordelia was like, ooh, I know where it fits. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so fun. It is the best way to pull up a menu. Like boop, 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 done. And I'm super into it.
Natural.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
So we're going to probably make some more UI updates overall. The one, I don't know if this was in the patch, but she just changed in when you go to create your playlist, that the buttons were kind of big, like over here, which is cool because you can see the icon of what was the action that it is and the level and stuff like that. But also the buttons were kind of big, so it took up this huge space, and it never felt good. So she just made them smaller. Now it's like, oh, okay, it
fits
really
a bit nicer.
Yeah, it's amazing, like the little changes sometimes. You think, oh, I don't know if this is going to work at all, and you just do it, and you're like, okay, well, see what happens for now, and we'll just keep improving it, and definitely want as much feedback as possible. So people should come on our 3-pound Discord and let us know.
Yeah, and come on down to the LTO where live open mic. He hangs out there. He's a community manager over there at 3-Pound Games, and he'll often hang out with us and be playing in the LTO Grokit nights as well. So we really do have a blast. It is it's pretty fun. And I recently got another friend. I think you ran the promotion, right? It was like when Max Mustard and them were doing the 90% off. You did 80%, I think,
Yeah,
something like
yeah,
that.
yeah. I saw once I saw that, I'm like, hey, this is a great idea. And then
Well,
so did 300 other developers.
yeah, yeah, exactly. That was a weird month. That was a weird month.
I think
But I
it's
was able.
I think it was great. We got a ton of people to buy games.
That's what I was just gonna say. I was able to convince a few people to buy Grokit who were a bit on the fence before, but at that price, they're like, "Yeah, I'll get it. Even just hop in with you like once every 6 weeks. It's worth it."
Right.
Yeah, Grokit's not really a game you're going to be wanting to play daily, right? It's more of the like you're having a board game night with friends. This is the game you might break out, or like with my girlfriend's daughter is over. She's like, "Hey, let's play a game." I'm like, "Oh, I've got just the thing for you here." Um, but yeah, it does really scratch that itch of the WarioWare quick games.
That's awesome. That's really great to hear. Thank you for that. That's very validating. We've been working hard. This team has just been pouring ourselves into this, and you've just seen us everywhere promoting, and it's been a lot of hard work. So thank you from the team.
And I have been loving the seasonal updates, and I do look forward to all the future updates, big and small.
Yeah, so the next one coming up, another add-on after this, is the co-location arena.
Ooh, what is that?
So when we were at AWE, that's actually why I even have these posters, right? There's a reason for this. Is we did a 20 by 20 booth with Grokit Co-location Arena. We were still putting the wheels on the car as we were going to the conference, of course, because this is talk about cutting edge. Co-location didn't even work a month before, so it's a tricky thing, and it's all starting to come together now. But we know that everything will be great for November, and this is the time to get people in headsets during the holidays all together in one space.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're playing Grokit in the same space as me, and I see you in real life, and you're wearing your avatar. And
Yes,
everything
I like
maps the same way, the same, we're all in the same room, right? So
how big of a space do you need?
I'd say like 10 by 10 is probably your a good,
Mm-hmm.
15.
So you can move around.
Yeah, you want to be able to run around a little bit. So you can see in this poster, there's a boat up there, and that's because we take the roof. So this is all mixed reality, and I'm looking at you're here, you're actually physically here, right? And you're wearing your avatar and everything, right? So we're gonna play Chomp. We all have our stuff. The boat is dropping bombs. The boat's dropping crates.
Oh, that is
stuff
cool.
like that, right? So now we got verticality, and with that intentionality, it's going to make you move around the room to get you moving in VR in mixed reality. Right. Yeah. So that's what we did at AWE was we put that on. So it was kind of like it's pretty high risk of is this even going to work out? And we saw exactly what we wanted to see. People, we put the headset on. You don't have to teach them how to use the controllers. All you're doing is like, just, you know what? There's going to be some fish. You just go chomp with your sharks. Got it? Go. And, also look up sometimes because, there's sound effects. Like, whoops, where'd that bomb come from? So they really quickly, they're just like, they would see stuff drop, fish would come out, and they're like, they would just take off, and then and you're like, okay, this works.
Was there any bonking of heads?
Surprisingly, no.
Wow, I love that. It's really good then.
One of the other experiences that we had just gotten together is Grokit, the arena, the golem. So we have the golem now in the Twilight Echoes update. So you are the golem smashing the moats, right? Easy peasy. But in that one, like you're wearing the golem outfit and you could go against, you could hit each other and you could knock some rocks off.
Okay.
And that was kind of the original plan, but is that a good idea?
A little dangerous. Yeah, a little dangerous.
So, Cordy was calling me out on that. And because I'm like, it'll be fine. What's going to happen? Am I going to get hurt or something? Nobody's going to do that. Nobody's going to punch each other.
You need like a caution, like dangerous mode, like, like caution tape all around it. That
right.
If you want to go that route, you got.
Yeah, if you're like really do a lot of VR, I'm not too worried about it. The thing is, it's that headset distance hand arm.
It's hard to tell.
It's really something funny there when you do that. That you're like, I'm not really sure if I'm close to you or not. So, so we just sort of deprioritized the knocking off each other's rocks and just made the gameplay more about collection and just getting around. And there were sticks. You could hit each other with the sticks if you knew.
Yeah. I've been known to knock over a mug or two while in VR. So I did it actually when I went to go play Grokit just this week. I got it open. I was like, all right, Grokit, hand tracking, dunk, hand, and then went to put him down, mug knocked over. The other time I think it was during
just
chess.
Like put him right in the mug, like bonk.
Yeah, God. And I was in mixed reality too. That's the thing. That's the sad part. I didn't even really look. I just kind of went with it.
That's old school VR right there too. Because I don't know about you, but I could put a battery in a controller without behind my back, upside down, man, boom, done. And now I don't need them at all.
So yeah, that's true. Well, was there anything else you wanted to cover for Grokit? Or for 3 Pound Games? Or for yourself in general?
What is next? There's a lot of stuff going on. Always a lot of stuff. I'm actually going to be going out to MetaConnect in September. So that's exciting.
Nice.
We're probably going to have a cool video up on somebody's showcase. Hopefully, fingers crossed. And that'll be really nice because we'll get a nice push out there in the community to just get this game a little further out there. While I'm out in California for MetaConnect, I'm going to be bringing with me some cool stuff. Like this cool card, Boop Boop.
Ooh,
which has
and this for our listeners. Yeah,
so find me in MetaConnect.
I like
and
it.
when you open it up, though, hang on, it's going to get better. Oh, it's a mini poster with stickers and a treasure chest. And what's that scroll? Cool. That's, of course, a game key. So find me, and you will have a magical experience right here on this 5x7.
That is the most creative way to give away a game key that I've seen in quite some time. I'm not going to lie about that. I like it.
Nothing but else but presentation, right?
that's some. My mom makes a lot of. She's into card making. She's a big crafter, and so I can really appreciate a good card.
Right.
If anybody can appreciate
that's
a good
great.
card.
That's great. You're qualified to. My thought was also there's a little bit of functionality here too. When you're at these conferences, it's oftentimes hot. And some people, especially some of the dudes, man, they got nothing. And I've given you a fan.
That's some utility. That's thinking ahead right there.
I figure that way they won't lose it. And, there's just been so many times people have given me game keys and I lose it because they just give you the little piece of paper. And so I'm trying to solve all of the issues I've ever had with game keys. All in one fell swoop. I want to give you stickers. I also want to give you a game key. That's a lot of stuff. What do I do, right?
Yeah, that's thinking ahead. How many are you going out there with?
I probably about 100, I'd say. I don't know. It's hard to give away because every person you talk to, you're gonna talk to them for a little while, right? It's not like boom, boom, boom. So it's actually hard to give away that many other than stacking them someplace.
Right. that makes sense.
Which I could do that
Well,
at one of the whatever the XR parties are. There's certainly plenty of those going on. So maybe I will. Maybe
those.
I will do that, and I'll just hit some of the different XR parties, and then notify people like that's when the game keys are going to be swarm in on them. Let's go. Let's have a
Well,
Grokit competition. Show you who, we'll show you who the best chomper is. That's what I'm saying.
I will say. Oh well. First, I'll plug. We will be live streaming on LTO the MetaConnect, at least the first day of it. So we are looking forward to that as well.
So wait, like on the campus, right? So like I'll get to come.
We will not be attending, unfortunately.
Oh damn!
But
I was hoping I could just run by and.
Yeah, unfortunately not.
Put up the
Maybe
sign.
One day we'll get an invite, but not quite yet. So
it was a weird year for invites, so do not be offended in any way, shape, or form because it's going to be.
No.
You know, I don't know. It's hard to say what's going to get announced, but I would speculate a heavy focus on the smart glasses and less about XR.
Yeah. It's always more like business and
Well, I mean, and also just general consumer, right? It's the same adoption problem we see with getting people into the headset, right? If you're Meta, what's your next move? Can we get there now where this stuff works better and we can have that 3D layer just less interactive, less deep, more contextually every day? Then that's the route I'm going to go. It just hasn't been commercially viable, I would say.
right.
The tech's out there. It's just too expensive.
I do think they've been very surprised with how their glasses have taken off, the Ray-Bans. And I think that sort of got them to pivot a little bit back that way.
Right. They actually got a little taste of adoption on that. And I'm thrilled by that too, because of the spatial audio and the, like that's such a big deal to me that this had the AI and spatial audio. And I was going to get them, but now I'm like, maybe I'm going to wait till the next one.
See what they got. Yeah. That's what I was telling myself I'd do. And then my first model ones, that broke them, or like somehow they broke. I don't remember the exact intricacies to how it happened.
I sat on them,
but yeah, it wasn't quite that. But this is one part of them.
Oh shit!
So,
that looks more like
the band thing broke, and I was like, all right. And then I got the new ones with the intention of maybe returning them, but I did like them enough where I was like, all right, I'm just going to keep them.
Right. I got my money's worth. These are cool. Yeah. No, I'm totally into it. And if they do come up with another pair of glasses where it's like, oh, we're actually getting some nice, cool imagery in here, and even better if I could have some image, actually pass through image recognition, all that sort of thing. Like, it's going to change everything, because that's the stuff people are going to start to adopt very easily, because you can see the value quickly. You can see the utility of the device. Whereas with the headset world,
it's an extra step.
Yeah, it's like, well, my friends don't have one, so I'm not going to play that. And I might be super tired and worn out, eyeball wise. I'm done. I'm drained. And they might feel too drained to get into XR, which MR should help with. But still, it's just, we're going to get there. One way or another, we're going to end up with 6 DOF, interactable 3D space glasses that are truly like the spatial web, everything. It's all the things with augmentation on top of it. And it'll be like living in Star Trek, Next Generation, of course. Just in case there's any concern over my Star Trek-ness. That idea that we could all learn stuff quickly, we could, there's been a lot of concepts around that, or like, why do I need to look the same thing up time and time again when this thing could just know that I need help with that process? Because of course I would. It's like 17 steps long, and it's not a bad thing at all. It's just like when we look things up all the time that we don't remember. Just think of that alone. Just that and people will get that right away. They'll understand that they can leave themselves notes, leave themselves instructions, leave other people instructions. And then this was an area we tapped into for the Meta Hackathon in June, I think it was. And we did Home Care Helper as an app that gave you contextual instructions that you could leave behind, so that you could do something like, I need to leave my house, I need to leave instructions for the neighbor, and I am kind of tired of doing the script again. We've all done the walk through the house where you're trying to explain to another person who is not familiar with all of your pet care routines, plants, all that nonsense. House, just make sure you take out the trash on the Friday. You know, we've all written handwritten lists. It's actually even borderline crazy. And and instead, I could just put on the headset. I could go record the bit, and that's it. It's done. So, oh, you want to learn how to take care of my house? Here you go. Like, that's what Home Care Helper is. So
that's
contextual instructions incredible for a busy world.
I would never even consider that, but yeah, that's pretty cool. I was just asked to cat sit too. I should ask for my instructions in VR, please.
Right. Absolutely. And I mean, the scale and scope of the kinds of things you can do like this, and how that could become, you know, routine pattern stuff or chores for the kids, or, you know, and you could even be a jackass about it too, and leave the instructions in such a way that it's actually entertaining. Like, hold up, let me show you how to load the dishwasher, you know, like that kind of stuff. And, you know, because it'd be you doing it. And, and that alone is cool.
Yeah. Well, I hope to one day see that one on the App Store then.
Yeah, we got to find some time.
Yes. Well, thank you for joining. I almost said us, but this time it's just me.
Me, myself, and I.
Yeah, exactly. It was a blast. And next time we have you, will be the 3rd. And hopefully Dan will be able to join us. And hopefully it will be with another fantastic Grokit update. So Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely amazing to see you again and have just a great chat. Thanks so much.